Hi, welcome back to the Tarot Genie, where you receive insightful, intuitive answers from the tarot to your burning questions about business, career, creativity, communications, entrepreneurship, spirituality, and more. Hi, I'm Laura, and this week's question of the tarot is, how do we enhance, boost, expand our creativity? Creativity is essential for every facet of our lives, especially in business, career, entrepreneurship. And I'd like to start off, well, I'm going to be shuffling the cards, but as usual, I have a book recommendation. This week's recommendation is How to Think Like Leonardo da Vinci by Michael Gelb. This book I've had since 2004 is fantastic. And if you ever, why don't you look up Michael Gelb on YouTube and watch one of his videos or listen to one of his, if you can find an audio. He has the best laugh in the world. And what Michael Gelb did, and in fact, I had an email communication with him years ago. He's just a wonderful individual. But what he did was study Leonardo years ago, Leonardo da Vinci, in depth. And he came up with 7 steps to genius every day in this book. He presents 7 ways that you can boost your own genius, your own creativity, and it's fantastic. In fact, I'd like to just read this one quotation from one of the concepts that he teaches about being curious, curiosità, the Italian word. And he says, one way to boost your curiosity is to use what-if questions. As he says, most business innovations are inspired by the question, what if? The multi-million-dollar economy of Silicon Valley was largely inspired by the question, what if we shrunk them, computer chips? What if questions stimulate your imagination and shake up your perspective? I just love that. I highly recommend this book. I reread it from time to time. It's pretty much time for me to read it once again, but he is just full of gems of wisdom, of tips and techniques to stimulate your curiosity and basically to enjoy your life even more. But there's just a lot in there that can help you with boosting your creativity. Today's question for the tarot. And as I shuffle the cards, I will explain that this week's 3-card spread is going to be, the question is going to be asked, how do we go about boosting our creativity? What do we need to do mentally, from a mental perspective? What do we need to do physically? As he explains in his book, there are things you can do like stimulating your senses, your sight, your vision, your sense of smell, your hearing, all kinds of things. And perhaps the tarot will give us some insights into that. So mind, body, and then spiritually, like what spiritual facet or technique can we use to enhance and boost our creativity? Because this will help us in any aspect of our lives. But it's especially helpful for business ideas, or if you are an artist or a novelist, writer of some type, being able to access an expansive sense of creativity is enormously helpful. I will finish shuffling these cards, and again, looking at it mentally, physically, and spiritually, what you need to know. Laying out the cards once again. All right, the first card, mentally. What does the tarot suggest you need to do mentally? What insights is it going to give you to boost your creativity? The Ace of Cups. The Ace of Cups is one of my favorite cards in the Minor Arcana. Now, this one is reversed, and I'll explain that in a moment. But basically, the Ace of Cups, especially if you look at it upright, is a card of power for me. We have this divine hand coming out of the ethers and presenting a gift. And of course, cups represent emotions, feelings, and we have this white dove, or gray dove actually, with a white wafer in its mouth, and it's presenting it to the cup. And then we have these 5 rivulets of water, and water is dealing with emotion, and then we have a pond, a lily pond there. And what this suggests to me, especially that it's reversed, The Ace of Wands represent a new opportunity for feeling. And what I think it's saying in response to our question today about how to stimulate, boost your creativity, is to look for new ways, because aces represent newness, beginnings. Look for new ways to stimulate your feeling centers. How can you really tap into the bliss, as my bliss, as my spiritual coach Carol Dore always talks about, tapping into the bliss. What are ways that you can think about to stimulate your feelings, to really get into the flow? And actually, since we were talking about creativity is flow. We talk about getting into the flow, and that's how I was thinking. That was what I was thinking about when asking the question, because you think about creativity, when you enhance it, you just feel this flow of ideas. So the first suggestion that I believe the tarot is advising us to take on today is look for ways that you can boost and just stimulate this flow of feelings. Think about some ways, and we'll get back to this question or this particular image in a moment, but think about ways that could enhance, your feeling nature from a mental viewpoint. Now, this might mean listening to music, something that stimulates you, but think about it deeply, especially since this is reversed. I believe that vis-a-vis today's question, it's saying really think deeply within you. What could stimulate that sense of profound feeling? Because when you create and when you are creative, you're coming from an area of feelings, of intense love, joy, passion. Now, the next card is going to provide us with some insights on what we need to do physically. How do we physically, what types of things should we do physically to tap into this flow? And I selected the Empress reverse. Now, the Empress, when we look at her upright, is this wonderful motherly figure of abundance. She is just in this beautiful, resplendent garden with this flow of water behind her, the woods, and she looks she looks regal. Of course, being an empress, she's regal, and she's on this plush seat or throne. It almost looks like a throne, and she's got a beautiful white robe representing purity, and she just has a gentle, warm, nurturing look about her. And given that this is reversed, I believe what it's saying physically, look for ways that can nurture yourself, whether it's taking a warm bath, making that bath warm with Epsom salts and lavender, lighting some candles, having some nice scented candles. Think of ways that can really soothe your body so that you feel, as the Empress here, and even though it's reversed, is suggesting that I think it just means at a deepest level, you want to just feel that sense of nurturing yourself, of flow. And then once again, we have water, but even though we're saying physical things to do, to me, it's suggesting we need to do this very deeply. Because the card is reversed, I see it as internalizing this, making this super important to do whatever it takes to get into a sense of flow, of tapping into the beauty around you, of nature, but really instilling that within your body in a dramatic way. So think about that warm bath, getting out into nature, so that you just really internalize the sense of beauty, of nature, of abundance. Especially when you focus on abundance, ideas will flow. And finally, the third card is the Eight of Pentacles reversed. Interesting that we're getting all reversal cards. So to me, that's suggesting if you want to boost your creativity, it requires a lot of inner work. Even though we do have a card focused on what we need to do physically, even that one was focused on intense inner work, inner focus on abundance. But the Eight of Pentacles, and if we look at it upright, we see this man who is working very intently. He's focused. He is etching out another coin. He already has a row already completed, and you can tell he's isolated. He's very focused. He's on his workbench. He's got his red tights, which to me always represent passion and purpose, and really just a lot of fire, energy, intensity about the work. But given that it's again reversed, I see this as suggesting intense dedication, and taking that in a spiritual, making a spiritual focus of complete dedication to the work, to the what you are, where in the area in which you'd like to boost your creativity. And eights, the number 8 also, when you're looking at it numerologically, represents strength and power. So looking at these 3 cards together as a group, the first thing, of course, is that they are all reversed, suggesting intense or a lot of internal work to boost this creativity, which makes sense. You want to do things, you've got to start inwardly to be empowered, and that's where the ideas do flow from, is from your inside out. Of course, tapping into the divine. Now this 8 of Pentacles or 8 of Coins, because I asked from the spiritual aspect, it is suggesting that intense focus and getting that inspiration, divine inspiration. And just looking at these 3 cards, again, the most important symbols and images that pop out at me are, of course, the flow of the water in the Ace of Cups and the flow of water in the Empress. So you can see this water stream, suggesting doing whatever it takes to getting into that flow state, whatever makes you feel relaxed and makes you feel warm and joyful and passionate. And as you do so, your spirit will be able to churn out more creative ideas, and you will be able to put those ideas into practice, into your work. That's what it's all about. Is, of course, you want to be creative and have creative ideas, but then you want them to put them into a particular project, which is what the 8 of Pentacles is suggesting, or 8 of Coins. I hope you found this reading helpful. Please hit the subscribe button to make sure you don't miss any of the upcoming episodes, which I air on Mondays. Next week, we will be tackling the issue of, or the question of, gratitude. Why is gratitude and embracing a practice of gratitude so important to you in your business, in your life? And as always, I will include a link to a particular piece of music that I believe will underscore today's insights from the tarot. Until next time, and remember to illumine your mind, inspire your life with the tarot.